Doctor Who is the longest running sci-fi show in television history. It's been on our screen for 50 years now, and I'm setting out to discover why this show is so successful. The iconic blue box first appeared on our screens in 1963, and this is where it all begun.
To date, 11 actors have portrayed the character of the Doctor. The production team behind the show created a very unique and special way of continuing the show, whilst changing the lead man. This is Regeneration. We've seen it 9 times on screen now, each varying. This is a genius plotline. It gives the show a chance to continue when the lead actor can no longer play the part. We're used to seeing it a lot now, but in 1967, Patrick Troughton took on the incredible task to take over the role from William Hartnell, who had created a more grandfatherly figure of the role.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
And changed it into a cosmic hobo.
I was astonished when they asked me to do it, and I thought, oh dear, no, you know, I mean, gosh, to recreate a character like that, it would probably only last about 6 weeks with me anyway, and it's just not worth doing.
He needed to establish this brand new character, as well as keeping all the elements that William Hartnell had created for three and a bit years. So if he didn't get that perfectly right, the show would have been off the air. People would have gone, this isn't the Doctor.
Patrick Troughton brought a wonderful layer of eccentricity to it, but also seriousness.
And his Doctor works so well because it's such a contrast to William Hartnell. You have this very serious, wise old man and this crazy, childish character.
This was something never done before, and what they did went down in television history. Even up to today, the regeneration of the Doctor is an immensely exciting experience for the audience. The whole persona of the Doctor changes. He doesn't even look the same anymore.
When John Pertwee took over the role to become the 3rd Doctor, he kept the role quite serious.
As I had spent the 10 years previously to that doing comedy, and people found it almost impossible to believe that somebody who could play all these eccentric characters, which I did, and go in and be the good Doctor and play him straight.
He made the Doctor very elegant. He was very smartly dressed with the frilly shirt, the velvet jacket and the Inverness cape, and he played the character of the Doctor straight down the line. He never played it for laughs, he made it utterly believable.
He seemed more like a scientist and worked alongside with UNIT.
I really liked the grounded nature of the 3rd Doctor era, mainly because I feel like, for me, I personally like the more Earth-based stories, and I know that John Pertwee himself has said that he also likes the grounded part of it.
As well as this, the whole action hero side of the Doctor, as all of a sudden he was having physical fights with a whole manner of people.
There was very much a family feel to it. There were a number of regular, recurring characters. Obviously, in addition to the Doctor and the companion, you had the Brigadier, the Captain and the Sergeant.
His acting did help to make it believable.
When Tom Baker took over the role, he became the Teeth from the Coals. More like Troughton again.
He was different in many ways. For example, Tom Baker was more an adventurer, but John Pertwee was more of a mad scientist.
He really brought out who he was in every way possible, whereas the previous Doctors were a bit... They had their own area that they would have focused on, sort of thing.
You had these new writers for the first time, and they produced crackers of episodes. Genesis of the Daleks, Robots. This is just the first series, and that's what gave him the massive leap from what everyone concluded to be the best Doctor.
But he also had that bit of up and go and a bouncy side to it, which I felt Tom Baker as 4th Doctor also had.
Peter Davison was friendly, yet assertive.
No matter where you was, if you were on Earth, if you were on a fleet guarded with Cybermen, and you're about to get one of your companions killed because he wanted to know if he was right. But overall, the Fifth Doctor is a necessary part of Doctor Who because it showed how a Doctor could have a human side.
And when I watched Peter Davison, it was when I was tiny, and it was absolutely real, and it was like a documentary, and it was amazing.
Colin Baker became mysterious, and his mood would swing in a split second.
He wasn't very nice to his companion to begin with. He used to shout a lot. But he'd had a very traumatising regeneration, and he was unstable as a result of that. But he wasn't always like that, and the character softened as time went by.
Troughton was mirrored in Sylvester McCoy's incarnation, with some darker elements thrown in.
Sylvester McCoy as the Seventh Doctor had no other Doctor's traits, in my opinion. None whatsoever. He was practically unique, and which is what makes him my favourite Doctor, because he's pretty much as unique as the First Doctor.
After a successful 26 years on screen, the BBC decided it was time to axe the show due to a decrease in audience viewership. This was to the joy of Michael Grade, a BBC executive with a personal dislike of the show.
No, when I was controller of BBC One, I cancelled the show. I thought it was rubbish. I thought it was pathetic. I mean, I'd seen Star Wars, and I'd seen Close Encounters and E.T., and then I had to watch these cardboard things probably clonking across the floor, trying to scare kids, you know, you just sit and laugh at it.
The Doctor, then played by Sylvester McCoy, hung up his umbrella at the end of the 26th season of the show, not to be seen again. After all the years of fighting Daleks, Cybermen, Centaurans, the Master, and a whole array of other enemies, the real enemy that defeated the Doctor was the BBC.
Well, until 1996, when British film director Philip Segal brought back the show for a TV movie in coalition with the BBC and Fox.
He was a kind of mysterious character. As opposed to the previous 7, we hardly knew anything about him. We didn't know when he changed his Tardis. We didn't know the last time he had a companion.
This was fronted by Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor in an attempt to revive the series, but sadly it was not meant to be. The viewing figures did not reach what it was supposed to over the pond, and they axed the whole project.
This meant Paul McGann would only have one TV appearance as the Doctor. But this wasn't the last time he played the part. He had since starred in over 70 audio stories, and we still don't know how his life as the Doctor ends. When the series returned in 2005, despite his tenure as the Doctor still going, Paul McGann was not asked to return on screen. Instead, the BBC cast Christopher Eccleston, who played the Doctor as a war-torn survivor for one series, which was a huge success. Like Patrick Troughton, he successfully portrayed the role to a whole new audience. When David Tennant took over the role, his Doctor was a hopeless romantic in love with his companion, which is something that's never been explored in Doctor Who before. This brings us to the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, whose portrayal as the Doctor can be described as the madman with a box. His take on the Doc is full of emotion, with traits of many of the previous Doctors retaking their hold. He's a bit like Marmite really, many fans love him while others hate him.
To this day, there's mixed views on who is the best Doctor. I did some research to find this out. The results were interesting.
I was shocked to discover that David Tennant's incarnation of the Doctor came out on top, leaving the other Doctors very far behind. But the show would not be the same without one vital prop. The second lead character in the show is technically the Tardis, the Doctor's ship that travels through space and time. A marvel in the sci-fi world. But why does it look like a British police box? Well, it has the ability to blend in with the surroundings, a disguise for what it holds inside. And when the Doctor landed in 1963, it got stuck in the police box shape, a shape that's now become so iconic within the show. The interior is bigger than the exterior, which is saying everyone looks at in amazement when entering the TARDIS for the first time.
Let me get this straight. A thing that looks like a police box standing in a junkyard, it can move anywhere in time and space?
Well, what do you think?
Don't believe it. It's bigger inside than out.
Yes, it's quite cosy, isn't it?
But it's huge! How does it do that? It's wood. It's like a box with that room just crammed in. It's bigger on the inside.
Is it? I noticed.
Well, anything you want to say? Any passing remarks?
I've heard them all.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it? Tiny box, huge room inside. What's that about? Let me explain.
It's another dimension?
It's basically another dimension. What?
After what happened with Prisoner Zero, I've been reading up on all the latest scientific theories. FTL travel, parallel universes.
I like the bit when someone says it's bigger on the inside. I always look forward to that.
Well, not everyone. It's changed over the years as the show has progressed, but it remains similar shape. You have the roundels, the hexagonal console, the time rotor, every similar feature. But in the more recent years it's been described as a desktop theme, which can be changed just like that. Outside the programme these days, conventions are becoming more and more popular. This gives fans a chance to dress up as their favourite characters while meeting the actors themselves. It's a truly gratifying experience for us fans. I'm talking from experience. I attended a convention known as Collectomania Milton Keynes in 2012, a popular attraction for fans. I got the chance to meet all the living classic Doctors, which is an unforgettable experience. Yup, that's me in a bow tie. But with this comes a great fall. Shyness. When meeting someone you've watched for a long time, well, let's just say, it can be embarrassing.
There we are. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
That's right. Silence. I was overcome with nerves. But this happens to everyone.
We got asked a question once about... I think the question was that, given that my character has been killed a couple of times in the series, I think the question was, how would you like to see Strax die? But it came out in a slightly mangled way, so it almost kind of like, how would you most like to die?
But anyway, he got to me eventually, and he wanted me to sign his photo as Matt Smith. He wanted me to sign Matt Smith. I said, I can't do that. He said, well, you're in Doctor Who.
Okay. Thank you. Is it alright if I get a picture?
Yes, that's fine. Just two hands free.
I got a little bit starstruck. And it happens to the best of people, and when I get nervous I start to stutter a bit. So, as a result, I kind of said something about having a camera being two hands free. To this day, I don't know what I meant.
See? It's not just me. As fans these days, we are incredibly lucky. We have magazines, DVDs, books, games, and even action figures. It's really a good time to be a Doctor Who fan. We can watch an episode again and again. But kids in the 60s and 70s didn't have that chance. Once it was seen, that was it. The only way of seeing their favourite stories again was through their imaginations, whilst reading the books. But nowadays, there are still episodes we cannot even see, due to them being missing from the BBC archives.
With dedicated fans in the case, stories return from archives all over the world.
There are 106 missing episodes of Who from the first and second Doctor's eras. This is due to the BBC wiping their old videotapes of the stories before realising their archiving policies.
The only way I've seen these lost gems again are through reconstructions paired with fan recordings while made during the original broadcast. But more recently we've seen stories turn up, such as in 1992 when Tomb of the Cybermen came from Hong Kong. Over the past couple of years, we've seen BBC start to animate some of the missing stories with flash animation. This has happened with stories such as The Invasion, The Reign of Terror, The 10th Planet, and The Ice Warriors. Could this be the future for all missing episodes?
This brings us to the end of the fantastic tale of the Doctor so far. Doctor Who has opened up a lot of doors for me. This is the show that made me decide I want to work in television and work on something as great as this. I've made some fantastic friends due to it. In my childhood, I made lots of videos of myself playing the Doctor. That's because it's something we aspire to be. Someone intelligent, a hero, someone people can look up to, and make something of ourselves. So happy 50th birthday, Doctor Who. Here is to many more.